I'm trying something new. This is on my dresser drawer, dresser, whatever you call it. But it's the iPad is horizontal, as opposed to vertical. Let's see where this leads us to. Okay. There's been talk recently that Kathy Hochul is trying to ban Glocks. Well, they say she's trying to ban the Glock device. More on that in a second. But other people think she's trying to ban Glock as well. And other people think she's trying to ban striker fire pistols as well. There's some shit in the committee, but keep in mind the SAFE Act was written a year before it was ratified. They literally wrote the SAFE Act at least a year in advance, and they waited for Sandy Hook to happen in order to pass it. Okay? The actual SAFE Act, word for word, was written out a year in advance at least. And they just waited for the shooting to happen in Sandy Hook, and they slid it into the table. Okay? And that's the truth in a lot of liberal houses, or even the federal houses, where someone, Dianne Feinstein is a prime example, would literally have a law written out verbatim, word for word, and they would always have it on the desk, and they wait for a mass shooting. Okay? That's the truth. Now, the Glock device that she's talking about, and the guy that has an armed guard license says Kathy Hochul knows all this shit is unconstitutional. She is not insane. She's a sociopath, okay? She knows it's wrong, doesn't care, okay? Insane means you don't know what's wrong, okay? Sociopath means you know it's wrong, you don't care, okay? Big difference. That's what it is. He says she's trying to bankrupt the gun companies, the gun rights companies. Because basically, just be told, Gun Owners of America and Second Amendment Foundation, which are really only two the gun rights groups that actually can NRA is nothing anymore, right? Not real activists. They basically have money. But Kathy Hochul, Gavin Newsom, all liberal governors can just exhaust the taxpayer money forever and ever and ever. And the deal is, how many gun laws can you pass? How many lawsuits can you fight? And how much money can you drain from the gun rights groups? That's a theory. Now, they're banning the Glock switch, whatever the fuck you call it. Okay? And there are rumors that the Glock switch is being imported by China. Now, fentanyl is being imported by China, and that kills 70,000 people a year minimum. Minimum. But when you get called fentanyl, you get catcher's bail. Now, the Glock switch is a device. Safety, okay. Okay. That's the wall behind it, by the way. Okay. You take that plate off, you change out a couple internal parts, and put the Glock switch on, and it converts a Glock 17 or a Glock 19 to full automatic. Now, the Glock 18 is by definition fully automatic ready. It has a happy switch right here. If I can show you. Okay. Now, the Glock 18 is only manufactured in Austria by Glock's main factory. And if you order, like, if FFL or some distributor or some law enforcement agency orders Glocks, Glock will go to the warehouse and they'll get a whole stack of Glocks and mail out. You want the Glock 17? Here you go. You want the Glock 23? Here you go. Boom, mail it all out. The Glock 18 is only manufactured when it's ordered. So you have to order a Glock 18 and then they'll make it and mail it to you. Now, only if, who are you? A military organization or a law enforcement organization? That's globally. Okay, you could live in a country that for some reason has no gun laws, or a country that allows full auto machine guns for everyone and you get it in the supermarket. Glock will still not do that. Okay, You could buy a fully automatic machine gun in the corner marketplace in Somalia, okay? But Glock will not mail it there. They only mail it to legitimate organizations that are police, military, other shit like that. That's the Glock 18. The Glock 17, the Glock 19 are mostly semi-automatic, but if you take the switch and put the switch in the back, I'll show you Dragon Man. I'll put a link for Dragon Man down below if I can. He has them. Now, what that does, when you rewire that into the system of the gun, it turns the gun full auto. Now, unless you're buying a bootleg Chinese variant on the streets, which is a federal crime, by the way, the Glock switch is by definition illegal. Allergies. Okay? Fuck. Allergies. Okay. It is by definition illegal. It was banned before it was invented. It was banned on May 19th, 1986, before it was even invented. And from the minute it was invented, it was a Leo-only item. In order for you to buy from anywhere, FFL, the Tribute, whatever you are, the Glock plate, it's actually a bump, because if you see, it actually protrudes out. Like, this is flush, it would protrude out to here a little bit. In order for you to buy that, you must first and foremost be a Class 7 manufacturer. And Dragon Man will explain below that he is a Class 7 manufacturer. See if I can find the video. I know he's got it somewhere. Okay? Now, a Class 7 manufacturer is the hardest license, the hardest gun license in the United States to get. Okay? It is easy to get a concealed carry license in San Francisco. Okay? You can only get it if you have a military or law enforcement contract. Now, prior to May 19th, 1986, they didn't even need them. Okay, look at God rest his soul, Barry, from Iraq veteran. Okay, he used to make machine guns. He would make the Mac 10 pistol, machine pistol. And he would make the you would buy an AR-15, $500. Give it to Barry with $400. With that $400, Barry would do the tax stamp and the parts, and you have a full automatic M16. Okay? Once May 19th, 1986 came along, that stopped immediately. Going forward from now on, 86 to now, in order for you to have the Glock switch or any other switch, auto sears and shit like that, you have to have a category 7, a class 7 license. Okay? Colt has one. They make the M16 for the military. HK has one or something like it because they are mostly based in Germany, HK. They make the MP5, some machine guns for Leos and police, SWAT teams, and military, shit like that. I think SIG has one because SIG makes the AK-416, HK-4. No, SIG makes the SIG-416, stupid, for Navy SEALs, Delta Force, shit like that. Okay, so the FN has one because they make fucking machine guns like crazy for the military. Okay, you must have that license. Now, if you are caught with the Glock switch and you do not have that license, it is 10 years in federal prison per switch. Now, when you manufacture them, you must give them to the military or law enforcement only. If not, once again, 10 years per device. And then you get a really good lawyer and plead down a little bit, but you're still going to prison for a couple years. Now, my mother used to buy machine guns. She bought M16, she bought HK MP5s, and it was she had to have a license from the ATF. She had to have an order from the police commissioner himself. No one else but him. She had to have the items mailed to a police address, headquarters, training center, precinct, academy had to go to a police address. A high-ranking officer had to sign off on it. The serial numbers were recorded, and anyone caught stealing one for himself would either first of all, would be fired for stealing police property. Second, they'd be referred to the U.S. Attorney's Office for prosecution. Okay? Now, I don't think it's a good idea for the police to have them. I'll tell you the reason why. Most of the time, the police have to shoot somebody because the person is committing a violent felony and doesn't want to be taken alive, and the police have to put that person down to save others. If you have a fully automatic machine pistol that's going to fire 1,000,000 bullets all at once, it's not going to be accurate. Okay? It would mostly be suited for a special forces unit that's going on a kill mission to another country for terrorists only. Like we're their SEAL team and we're breaking into a compound and every single person there is a terrorist. And we're killing all of them. And if you look at the Bin Laden raid, they killed his brother, they killed a woman, they killed Bin Laden himself, obviously. But most of the people in the house were women and children. And if Navy SEALs were running around with machine guns, mowing people the fuck down, they would have killed a lot of innocent people. And even in the military in general, infantry, artillery, they mostly use those weapons on the battlefield when confronted by large numbers. Okay, a police officer in almost every case is not going to have that issue. His goal is to arrest and, if possible, take him alive. But if an officer has a machine gun, okay, it's going to be very, very reckless. So most police departments don't use them. And those that have them use them for doomsday scenarios. Like if there's fucking rioting and this, like absolute carnage. Okay? Now, since 1872, my hometown, you cannot find a single report of a single officer using a fully automatic weapon in the line of duty. You cannot find a single report of an officer bringing a fully automatic weapon into the public view. Okay, it's only as a last case scenario. The rest of the time it's pistols, shotguns, and semi-automatic rifles. But even the semi-automatic rifles are once every 25, 30 years used in actual missions, which are very, very, very rare. Okay? So this Glock switch thing is already banned, period, by federal law. And by just banning a Glock, first and foremost, I would suggest that Glock fund the lawsuit if the law would pass. I would also suggest that Glock tear up every police contract they have. Okay, because at one point the Glock is used by 60% of all American law enforcement. 60%. That means the other 40% use M&P or SIG or HK, but Glock is used in 60% of cases. Okay, so at one point you're saying we're gonna be buying guns from Glock. It doesn't matter if you're in California, Hawaii, New York, Jersey. You're buying Glocks by the thousand for officers. But at the same time, you're banning the gun for everyone else. So you're hurting their ability to have commercial sales while demanding their ability to have law enforcement sales. And there is no evidence, to be honest with you, there is no evidence of Glock themselves or the guys that make the switch. There's no evidence of them ever giving that device to someone outside of the legal scope. Okay? Maybe you can find some report somewhere where a guy stole from the factory and sold on the black market. But Glock or other companies will not even attempt it. If you're buying one on the street, it's probably a Chinese manufactured copy. Okay? So this is just one more piece of shit attempt to scare people and other shit. It is useless, okay? I mean, how about a car, okay? I could take a car. The little Honda Civic, there are laws in a lot of states, including here, about having engines that are so loud, okay? You start the car up and it's like a bomb went off, okay? That's illegal. You could say, well, we should ban the Honda Civic because, in theory, some guy might make his engine very loud. Okay? You could say, in theory, we should ban this car because it can go 200 miles an hour. In theory. Okay? And that's the point that I'm trying to make here today. It's useless. Now, obviously, the happy switch itself is banned, period. And if you wanted to pass a state ban on it, fine. If you wanted to increase penalties for it, fine. But keep in mind, this is the state that passed cashless bail, which allows violent criminals out of jail immediately. This is the state that has a parole board that releases rapists, murderers, and cop killers. Okay, in New York City, in Manhattan, at Columbia University, we had a literal terrorist attack, and a building was taken over by terrorists, and the terrorists held 3 hostages. Every single one of them was released in an hour with no charges. They literally committed terrorism in New York City, in Manhattan, and they literally were not charged, period. So you're saying to me that if I have this gun, it should be banned because I might do this, maybe. Even though I've passed more background checks than most politicians, even though I've passed more background checks than most police officers, even though I've never done anything remotely wrong in my life, okay, I mean wrong as in criminally, okay, you can check my police record. I have one record of hurting somebody my entire life, one record. And it was self-defense, it was a robbery attempt. I fucking broke guys' ribs and wrists, man. Myself and a store detective, we beat the fucking shit out of a guy, broke his wrist, his ribs, and he went to jail for robbery. He went to jail, not us. Okay? That's the only thing that you could ever find on me where I was aggressive, and it was in response to a robbery. Okay? Responsible robbery. Okay? So you're saying to me, well, in theory, you might do this. No, I won't. No, I wouldn't. I will not, in theory, do this. Okay? The guy with the Honda Civic, that he might put a big engine in his car that sounds like a bomb going off. Where's his background check? The guy with the Maserati, not the Maserati, the guy with the Ferrari, the Ferrari that can go 200 miles an hour. Where's his background check? Okay? If a guy has a Glock on the street, he could, in theory, put the switch on. He already bought the gun illegally. Why not buy that switch illegally? Okay? We had an incident down in the Bronx. We had foreign invaders with illegal guns and children in the house. They were foreign invaders. They were squatting in an apartment they did not legally own or rent. They had guns in the house illegally. They had children in the house. They lived across from a school. Cashless bail, my friends. Cashless bail. Okay? So, before you want to sing and dance with me or anybody else, okay, get your other priorities straight. Okay? If you're going to release a terrorist from jail with no charges after they took hostages, but you're going to say, well, why do you need that thing for? Okay? Think about it. Bye.